I'm Ken Previtt. Today we'll talk about long-term care. I swear, long-term care, little joke. Boring subject, but very, very important. This is a make or break issue for anybody's finance. Long-term care, what does that mean? Well, it's anything from when you get old and go to the nursing home, which we all seem to think that's where you go immediately. And some of policies and different things that you can buy and the different strategies to pay for this will allow for you to stay at home. Yeah, most people want to be at home. They like home, and actually studies have shown that if you can stay at home, you're much better off in many, many ways. But that's neither here nor there with regard to the financing of it. Let's jump in. So we'll discuss three issues about long-term care, or some call it nursing home insurance. It's not really that, but that's what they call it. Three things: how, when, and where. How? How do we pay for long-term care insurance? Well, there are about three major ways, and I'll get probably mail after this video, and somebody will come up with, oh, but we paid for it this way. And I'm glad you did, but let's discuss the three majors, and they are: well, you can buy a long-term care policy. And most Americans back in the mid-90s, they started, and even in the early 90s, they started marketing to seniors and people who were, getting ready to retire, these policies that would take care of you for 2 years or 3 years at $300 a day, and all these neat formulas. Some of them even came with what they call an inflation rider, meaning every year your benefit was increased by 3 or 4 or 5%, something like that. And that's wonderful because you could pay, a chunk of money every year, and it didn't matter. You had long-term care. It was going to take care of you for 2 or 3 years. Some of them even said they would take care of you unlimited amounts of time that you were ever in need of any expenses to be paid because you needed long-term care. So there are all those neat policies out there. There's another avenue of paying for long-term care, and that's cash. I've piled up so much cash, I don't know what to do with it. Well, you're going to need it. As the last 2 years of your life, you're going to spend 80% or more of your entire life's health expenses. So it's very, very expensive. Today, and somebody can call me down because I don't know the national number or the state number for every state in the union, but you can expect you're going to spend $50,000 to $250,000 a year, depending on what state you live in and what manner of care you need. So it's very expensive. So if you had $1 million and you were in the $200,000 a year range, you got 5 years worth of coverage. What do your kids get when you die? Well, what's left over? So there's that. And then there is a neat thing that pays for long-term care, pennies on the dollar, we call it, and it's life insurance. I know some of you might go, I don't think so, because it's a concept probably you've not been made aware of. But could you imagine, and go along with me on this, could you imagine having $500,000 death benefit? Now, when you die, somebody gets $500,000. But in that life insurance policy, there's a provision. We call them riders, but that sounds like we're going to go on a horse riding exhibition. But let's just call it a provision. And that provision in some specially designed life insurance policies would say, if you can no longer function fully, and perhaps 2 or 3 things out of all 6 that you need to be able to do, toileting, bathing, transferring, eating, etc., then a $500,000 policy would have enough in it to maybe you get to spend 90% of that. 90% of that could come out to you tax-free to help pay for long-term care. Some of the policies are very liberal in the fact that they don't need receipts and it's not a reimbursement. They just send you money. Some policies will say, hey, you're in the long-term care stage, you qualify, let's write you a check for 90% of that money if you want. But nonetheless, some pay 4% a month and et cetera, so be careful. But just imagine a life insurance policy that you can use the death benefit while you're alive. It's pretty neat, and I think you need to take advantage of looking into that. And here's why. The long-term care policy that you may out there be watching this and go, yeah, I've got one of those. I had it for 12 years and it's gone up 4 times. So we started out at $1,800 a year and I'm paying $3,000 a year for that same coverage because I've gotten older and they keep raising the premium. They can do that, But with a life insurance policy, once the premium is formulated, That's what it is. And that's all you pay. It never goes up. Isn't that neat? I like that. In other words, let's go ahead and nail down your overall pennies on the dollar expense for, say, $500,000 or $1 million worth of benefit. So it's a much more, how do you say, usable asset. And by the way, you can sell your life insurance policy if you ever want to. You can leave the benefits to nonprofits and charities of your choice, or children, or whatever you want to. But any of that would be considered a tax-free, a tax-free distribution outside of selling it. That's another story for another video. And then you'd say, well, when should I do all of this? Well, honestly, you should do it 15 years ago. That's a small joke, but you're not getting any younger, you're getting older. So to take advantage of any life insurance product, you need to apply now while you're good and healthy and much younger. So now or immediately. Again, click the link below and let us know. We'll get in touch with you and maybe work out some proposals so you can see. A second opinion is really, really, really worthwhile. Could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars and even provide better coverage. Pennies on the dollar, remember that. And then where? This is always a question that people give me. Well, if I apply for my long-term care policy, where do I have to go? Well, some of those old long-term care policies will only pay if you go to a fully confinement nursing home. You know, they call them warehouse for old people and all these other negative connotations. No slandering of anybody that works at a nursing home. It's a really tough job. But anyway, some policies are much more liberal than that, and they will allow for you to stay at home or even have somebody come and help you out, a couple hours a day, and then various stages of your declines, as it were. So there's that. But again, with the life insurance, they don't care where you go or what you're doing. Some of them will only reimburse your expenses. Others don't care. They're just going to write you a check, and you get to spend it however you want to for yourself, as long as you qualify for that special provision. So long-term care policy versus life insurance, you need to compare now. If you've got an old one and it's gone up 1 or 2 times or 3, I will say this. I'm not going to predict the future, but I can tell you that it will never go down. Just a thought. So, hey, give us a call. Give us a thumbs up. Like the video. Let us know how you felt about the information. But if you have any questions, click the link below, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Again, I'm Ken Previtt. Thanks for talking about long-term care.